13 Adventures is going to do 13 questions with Ronnie.
Our journey into Airstream began when we bought our first trailer. We bought a 2014 23D.
Yeah.
I've had to make the decision that I can't be all things to all people, but I can be all things to a few. I mean, we're taking an Airstream in on a Sunday, and we're rolling that thing back out into the wild on a Friday. So first and foremost, we're Airstreamers. So we have an Airstream. We travel in an Airstream. We love our Airstream. So I think that puts me in the same mindset as most of my customers. A lot of people come into the game with very unrealistic expectations on what can and cannot be done with a system. Classics typically are just not put together as well.
I don't disagree at all. And
we're not going to compromise on the quality of the work that we're going to do. And that means that we can't take everybody. You can stay in business a long time not making money. You can't stay in business very long losing money. So a misconception about what we do is that we've got 50 Airstreams sitting around here waiting to be worked on. But if you're a giver, you better know your limits. Because the takers don't have any.
They don't.
You know, I just need to say something real quick.
What's up?
For all those people that said I would just be an RV mechanic. Yes, that is correct, but now I'm an RV mechanic that's mic'd up on YouTube.
Hey everybody, I'm back here with this awesome dude, one of my favorite humans on earth who does awesome things for Airstream, and I'm so glad to be just in his sphere because he is infinitely busy and perpetually doing something, and it's crazy what you've got going on here. But I got the boondock at his place last night, and it was a beautiful night here, and I've asked him to answer my 13 questions. So 13 Adventures is going to do 13 questions with Ronnie. I hope I can capture something that all of you guys want to know about the world of Airstreaming and Airstream repair and what he's got going on here and entrepreneurship and things like that. So Ronnie, thank you very much for letting us be a part of your day. But what inspired you to start Airstream Nuts and Bolts, and how did your journey in the Airstream world begin?
Our journey into Airstream began when we bought our first trailer. We bought a 2014 23D.
Yeah.
And that was when our kids were young. We wanted to be able to travel to the beach.
Yeah.
And do some vacations. And we at the time couldn't afford condos at the beach and things like that because it's expensive. So we started camping at Florida State Parks and doing things like that. So our introduction into camping in general was with some friends of ours that had a pop-up. And then my wife decided she liked the camping idea, but I knew pretty quick that I was going to have to get a camper with a bathroom in it, a kitchen in it, some things like that if she was going to stick it out.
Cool.
So we bought a 23D and we drug that thing from Key West to Canada, from Virginia to California. We went everywhere in the 23. So it was great.
Did you buy it used?
No, I bought it. Yeah, a lady had bought it before me, but she used it one time.
Okay.
Decided it wasn't for her. So we bought it. It had been used one time, and it bought it in 2014. And I got on air forums, and everybody doing the whole thing. You're doing your research, you're figuring out how things work, and I started becoming a contributor to air forums. And what I was having happen was people would ask me a question about, hey, how did you do this? So I'd type out an email answer. And then the next week I'd get the question, how'd you do this? It'd be the exact same question. So I'd have to type the answer out again. And I'm like, this is a lot of work to answer the same question over and over. So I was like, there's got to be a better way to do this. So I started writing a blog.
Okay.
I have a blog on air forums where every time I did something to my trailer, and I guess I've always been technical, always been handy. So I was kind of a fidgeter. So I'd always done stuff to the trailer. Every time I did something to the trailer, I'd write a blog post about it. That way, when somebody asked me a question, I could just send them a link to that blog.
Cool.
So it was just kind of that process. So I did the blog for a while and then got contacted by RV Life to write a weekly column for DIYRV.com. It was a publication, so I wrote a weekly column for a while for them. Quickly realized that I didn't want to be in the game Brad was in. The content struggle is real. Coming up with something to say every week
that's tough.
That's new is very, very tough. So I admire what you do and how you manage to always come up with something of value to put out there on a weekly basis. So Airstream Nuts and Bolts, the name originally came from the aspect that I wanted to do teaching. I was on the Airstream Consumer Council. I did some webinars for Airstream. I wrote the blog on Air Forums, and I was writing this column for DIYRV.com. So Airstream Nuts and Bolts was so that I could help teach people the nuts and bolts aspect of airstreaming. Let's break it down to the basics.
Love it.
Let's break it down to the nuts and bolts so that we can get people who are overwhelmed over that hump and just kind of get them in a groove to where they can manage it. So that was that. And then people on Air Forums was like, man, if you could open a shop, it would be this. And that was the seed planted probably 3 or 4 years before we ever did it. I'm a registered nurse by trade, so I'd worked in healthcare for a while, and I actually ran another company, an underwater lighting company. It was called Green Monster Fishing Lights. That's where GMFL, which is my username on Air Forums, came from, was Green Monster Fishing Lights.
Cool.
So
I didn't know that.
I sold that company in 2020. All the while, now I got to find something that I really want to do. So we started doing kind of the shade tree mechanic type Airstream stuff. Somebody say, hey, can I come by your place and we do a lift? Or, hey, can you come by my place and we add a couple solar panels? So we started that way.
Just in your yard or driveway.
Yeah, in our driveway. I poured an extra concrete slab beside, so I had a place to work on trailers. And eat with every business I've started. With the first business I started and this one, I've started very small, very just kind of crept into the industry. So we started doing that, and then we do 1 trailer a month, and then we started doing 2 trailers a month, and then we started doing 2 trailers a week. And before long, it got to the point to where we had to worry about if it was going to rain.
Yeah.
Weather became an issue because it wasn't like, okay, we can't work today because it's raining. We can work tomorrow. I can't work on your trailer tomorrow because I have a trailer today. Yeah. And that's going to be for tomorrow. So anyway, that's where we decided, okay, if we're going to do this thing, we need to do it. So we looked at buying a piece of property, bought this piece of property here, which is about 5 miles from our home, and built the building. And
Blair and I happened to come by here before it was even built. It was just it was a flat piece of land and a runway at the time. So it's really cool to watch this.
That was in March, probably right before you guys did the AT.
Yeah.
So they only had the property for less than 30 days, probably. So I think Mark Leach said it best with KYD. He said that, the first time they came here, this was nothing more than a dirt strip and a dream. And it's kind of now
it's an enterprise.
Yeah, we've been drinking out of the fire hose for a while, and things are kind of getting a routine. So it's good. We stay busy.
Entrepreneurial stuff is what has been the most challenging aspect of running your own business in the RV industry, and how have you overcome it?
It's not going to be what you think. There is a huge vacuum. In quality RV service industry.
Amen.
A huge vacuum. So our biggest challenge is trying to fit as many people into the schedule as we can fit into the schedule. Yeah. We had 23 trailers in October, and we took a week off and went to Disney. So I had 23 trailers in 3 weeks. Our biggest challenge is I could hire 15 guys and build 2 more buildings and keep everybody busy. We could do it. Yeah. But for us and our business model, we're running a very boutique, very custom, very personal business.
Quality, quantity.
Yeah, I mean, we're sweating the small stuff. I've had to make the decision that I can't be all things to all people, but I can be all things to a few. Yeah. So, if you try to get in and don't get in, it's not because I don't want you. It's just because the business model that I have in place. I mean, we're taking an Airstream in on a Sunday, and we're rolling that thing back out into the wild on a Friday. Yep. And we're doing massive builds. Yes. Thousands of watts of solar, multi-100 amp lithium batteries, large inverters, touch screens, all the smart tech, plus onboard generators, lifts, all of those things. So we can take a trailer in on a Sunday and roll it out on a Friday and, do a massive build on that one trailer. Whereas if you take it to a dealer or take it to another service center, they're going to want to keep it for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Yep. And they're only going to do small portions of what you want to get done. So for us,
and you never know the quality you're going to get for the
company. For us, we're primarily doing 1, maybe 2 trailers a week. The second trailer would be just small stuff like clear glass in a door or something like that. But mainly what we're focused on is doing larger builds, getting it in on a Sunday, rolling it back out in the wild on a Friday, and getting that customer everything that they wanted or dreamed of in a 5-day period.
Amazing.
So the biggest challenge is there just ain't enough hours in the day. Yep. If it was 25/8, maybe.
customer focus, what is your approach to understanding and addressing the unique needs of Airstream owners? Because they are so picky folk.
They are.
Which I am one.
So. Yeah, I am too. So first and foremost, we're Airstreamers.
Yeah.
So we have an Airstream. We travel in an Airstream. We love our Airstream. So I think that puts me in the same mindset as most of my customers because we all have the same goals in common.
Yeah.
We're trying to do the same thing. So addressing unique needs. I have spent a lot of time educating myself on solar and lithium and inverters and all that. And a lot of times I'll get customers who come in and they're like, yeah, I want to be able to do this, but I only want to install this. And I have to tell them that you can't do this with that. So having the ability to consult with the customer, trying to educate them on what truly the system will do. Because, I mean, there's still a lot of people out there who think, oh, yeah, well, I want to put all this lithium in and I want to be able to run my air conditioner. Can you run your air conditioner off lithium? Absolutely. Is it the solution? Yep. No, it's not the solution. If you want to stop, eat lunch, and run your inverter for an hour and run the air conditioner, absolutely, by all means. But if you're going to a harvest host and you need to run an air conditioner for 5 hours, that can't happen.
Nope.
So part of me helping meet their needs is educating them on truly what we can do. I can only do what the equipment will do. I mean, we can install the system, we can install everything correctly, and we can do all that, but I need to make sure that your expectations are clear on what the system will do. So being upfront, being honest, being transparent about what we're capable of doing is a big part of that.
Yeah. I think many people misunderstand also, like there's a yellow sticker on your screen door there that says, hey, this is your cargo carrying capacity. But once you add lithium, generator, battery, inverter, like you have this much space to carry extra stuff now.
Right.
So,
So we, you are always adding to the gross vehicle weight rating. So we're adding to it. And then I get the question sometimes, well, can we upgrade the axles? Okay, so we'll put this in there and we'll add all this weight, but let's put bigger axles or heavier weighted axles under there. Absolutely, that's something you could do, but it doesn't change the yellow sticker on the side of the door.
Nope.
It's still the same. So it's the same thing with buying a 2500 truck or a 250 and meet your cargo capacity. You can put 350 springs on the back of it, but it's still a 250.
Yeah,
agree. You are increasing it, putting airbags on it. You are increasing its carrying capacity, but you are not increasing gross vehicle weight rating for the trailer. Yeah. So really, a lot of people come into the game with very unrealistic expectations on what can and cannot be done with the system. We can meet a lot of needs. You just have to be reasonable about what's going on.
Far too many people's like, I'm going to go do all the things on solar. I said, time out.
Yeah.
Let's take a break.
So the most solar that I can put on the roof of an Airstream is 1200 watts. 1200 watts on the roof of my Airstream. That is getting close to a livable amount of solar. It is a livable amount if you don't need air conditioner or some high pull devices. If you're just running lights, 1200 watts will get you by for sure. Yeah. But if you're having to run an air conditioners pull in somewhere between 1470, 1550 watts, which is not enough. You can't run an air conditioner. Now, if you got a big old 45-foot fifth wheel and I can put 2,800, 3,000 watts of solar on the roof, we can get you at a net loss 0 and still run an air conditioner. But you can't do it with an Airstream because there's just not enough real estate.
There's not enough real estate.
There's not enough real estate.
What are your most common upgrades or maintenance requests that you receive?
We do a ton of lifts.
Okay.
3-inch lift, very popular one. Do a lot of 3-inch lifts. Lithium, solar, Victron. I'm a Victron guy. Yeah. So Victron is kind of my wheelhouse. I'm a certified Victron installer.
I love them.
So we do a ton of Victron multi-plus inverters. And believe it or not, we do a absolute ton of the Onan generator installs, the aircraft Onan generators. And we do a lot of big builds that are multi-plus, quattro inverter, and the generator all in one. Our number one thing that we do is large builds, where you're putting, 800, 1,000 watts of solar on the roof. We're doing a minimum of 400 amp hours of lithium battery, the 3,000 watt multi-plus or quattro inverter, the 2,500 watt Onan generator, those type things. But lifts, like if you're coming in on a Friday afternoon and just need most people are coming in for a lift. Yep. And then the new one that we do is the clear glass in the door. We're getting out of the frosted glass and we're doing the transparent glass in the door because we're able to take the door apart, take the old window out, and then re-buck the frame back in. So we're using buck rivets to go back in. That's a real popular one because once the window is in place, you can't tell that it wasn't factory.
Speaking of lift kits, I'm really surprised that Airstream doesn't offer it as an option nowadays.
The Trade Winds, I think, is the only one.
The Trade Wind's the only one,
The only one. It's not.
It should be a factory upgrade option. that you
Well,
can just do.
yeah, I think
It'd be
the
so much
thing with that is
easier.
Airstream don't want to get into the
understand.
a la carte menu
But
orders.
you can add solar, you can add an air condition, you can add convection oven microwave. A lift kit should be at least something simple they can do because it's not that big of an upgrade. I mean, from the factory.
I agree.
That's much easier to do at the factory.
Well, if the trailer was upside down,
Yeah,
it'd be a whole lot easier
yeah.
to do it. Exactly.
Have you developed or implemented any unique upgrades or solutions that have become a signature of your business?
Tank straps are probably a big one for the 54-gallon tanks. So
Yes.
I had a customer come in one time, and this is, trying to find a solution for a problem. I had a customer come in one time with a Classic, and I got under to do a lift on his trailer and noticed that his water tank was hanging.
Yeah.
Underneath. So what happens that creates the issue with the tank straps for the water tank, shroud will start to bulge down. And once it bulges to a point, the pop rivets that are in the corners of the tank shroud will break. Well, once they break, we lose structural integrity. And now we get this big bulging water tank. It's typically not as big of a problem on the smaller units. So 23, 25, 27, not as big. But when you get into the 54-gallon fresh tank on the 30-foot trailers.
And 33.
And the 33s, it can be an issue. So once we do a lift, that gives us the ability to saddle some U-bolts over the axle and add a steel strap under the water tank. It's not designed to hold the water tank up. What it's designed to do is prevent the water tank shroud from prolapsing, which prevents the rivets from breaking on the side, which compromises the structural integrity of the shroud. So if we can prevent it from becoming a problem with a strap, then it won't be a problem. So we do a lot of tank straps now.
That's a wonderful, and had we kept our 30-foot, that's something I was going to do because
that and the door handle mod is the other one that we do a lot of. Not the 24.5, but the old door lock. The handle itself is just swedge locked.
You just reinforce it
into that. So people are always closing their door with the handle. Well, that handle can pull off of the trailer. So if you shut your door and your handle comes off in your hand, now you're locked inside the trailer. So what we do is go in and drill and tap the inside of the handle and put a large washer and a bolt inside it so that handle can't pull off.
I did that to this one, but I also added a door handle.
Yeah. So it gives you another pull point. But we do a lot of those.
I never pull on my normal handle. How do you help Airstream owners outside of your blog that you used to do learn more about maintaining their rigs? And do you offer any workshops or guides?
We are actually looking at doing, I'm in the process of writing the curriculum for it. We're going to do 2 classes, hopefully here. I've got kind of the infrastructure set up for it so that we can have 10 trailers or so here. We're going to start doing a little mini rally. One of them is going to be called Airstream Boot Camp.
Yeah, cool.
So we'll bring people in and we'll spend a week together learning how to, this one will be primarily geared toward new owners. So everything from learn how to change a tire, how to fix a water pump, how to diagnose a problem, how to change a light bulb, how to do all of the basic stuff, maintain your black tank, all of those things that we've learned over the years, plus working on other trailers and talking with other Airstreamers. We're going to do a little 3-4 day camp called Airstream Boot Camp. And that will be something that I'm working on writing the curriculum for now. And then the second one that we're going to do is going to be called Boondocking Boot Camp. A lot of people want to be able to boondock. I'm in the solar lithium business. I kind of set people up to be able to get out and do that. But a lot of people can't overcome the fear of being untethered.
Yeah.
So if we can get people in here and teach them some of the basics that we know about boondocking, water management, power management, all those type things, hopefully we can introduce people into a whole nother side of camping that their anxiety level just won't quite let them get into. And it may not be, one person may want to do it and the other person may be like, I just don't know, I can't be without this. I think if we can just teach them that yes, you can. Yeah. I mean, these Airstreams are fabulous trailers. They're fabulous pieces of equipment. Yeah. And one of the best feelings we have inside our Airstream is when we're boondocking somewhere and it's cold outside or it's raining and you're inside and your rig is actually taking care of you.
Yeah, it's great.
It's your little pod, it's your little safety place, and your Airstream is capable of taking care of you. So if we can just get people over the hump to where they realize that boondocking is not as rugged as they've envisioned, I think we can introduce a whole nother style of camping to people.
I made a boondocking 101 video, just a standard stock Airstream trailer and how to manage things and what power pools this and that and the other. So it's pretty handy, but you give people so much more capability.
One of the big things that we do at our shop is because we're primarily only taking one trailer in a week, one big build a week, we allow the customer to stay. Yeah. The customer stays on site here with us and they can participate in the build. What that allows them to do is if you see how the sausage is being made, it allows you to have a better more depth of understanding of how the system's put together, how it's supposed to work, where things are located, so that while we're doing the teaching portion of how to use this system, there's a whole nother layer of knowledge that the average person doesn't get.
Yeah, that's
so one of the things that we do is we actually allow customers to stay on site during the build.
I try to reiterate this all the time. Like, you can't bring house habits into your trailer, and that's from a power consumption, a water consumption, a pick-a-thing consumption, like that. You can't, if you try to bring your house habits in, you fail.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
storage, anything. You can't bring everything with you.
No. What's your favorite thing about the Airstream community?
The community itself. 99% of the people that you meet in the Airstream community are just like you.
Awesome humans.
They're just awesome humans. You when you meet somebody, we all have the same common goals. We all have the same desires. Most of us have come from sort of the same kind of career paths, and it's just the community in general. You see another Airstream, you're typically going to go up and talk to those people.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just the cultural aspect of Airstream in general.
I agree 100%. We talk about it all the time. Like, the people are my favorite part. Mm-hmm. What's been the most complex or rewarding Airstream repair you've done, or restoring, or tackled? Like, what's the most complex?
We work on 2010 or newer.
Okay.
So we don't do vintage stuff at all. But some of the ones that are complex repairs, if you have plumbing issues, leaks, not necessarily shell leaks, but water leaks in plumbing.
Yeah.
And it's primarily due to the fact that a lot of the connections are in situations or locations or places that you can't access. I mean, if you have a water leak in your shower supply line, it's under that fiberglass. Most of the time you either have to pull it. You have to get really creative trying to figure out where it is. That and water tank leaks.
Okay.
Whether it's a hole in a fresh tank or a cracked bung on the side of a freshwater tank. I mean, those are things that just, it's hard to charge the amount of money to do a repair like that, because it's just so involved with being able to.
You can't even quote it. Because you don't know how long
Well, trying to jack up a trailer to the point that you can drop a water tank out. Airstreams are notoriously low anyway. Well, the water tank's got a certain amount of thickness to it, which means you've got to get the wheels off the ground 12, 16, 18 inches, just so you got enough floor clearance when the tank is down. After you've got the tank down, you actually slide it out from under the trailer.
Yeah.
I thrive in running wires in Airstreams. So we spend a lot of time running wires behind the aluminum skin.
Yeah.
Sometimes that involves taking the skin off on the inside to be able to get in there and run the wire. But, you learn tips, you learn tricks, you learn ways to do it. But sometimes, like I have a customer who says, hey, I want my Starlink in the upper locker. You can't quote that because it may take 20 minutes and it may take 20 hours.
Yep.
You just don't know how long it's going to take to get that wire where it's going to go. So
it depends on the rig too.
Right. And I have to ask the customer, okay, what's your level of commitment here? What's the level of commitment? Because if you ask me to do it, we're going to get it up there.
Yep.
If it's full send, we're going to get it there. But I need to know what your threshold is so that we can make an educated guess on how hard it's going to be.
Yeah. When I put that antenna on the roof up there, I had to take my whole interior panel out in the bedroom. Like, I drilled out every rivet and pulled the skin down just so I could get, because the way the wire, the pre-wire, Airstream pre-wire was crimped.
I
I couldn't get to it. I couldn't pull it through.
So we do that. There are a lot of upgrades. If you follow us or see us on Instagram or any of the other YouTube channels we've been a part of, trailer tours and things like that, there's a lot of things that I've done to my Airstream that I would never do to your Airstream.
For sure.
And the reason is because it took me 3 days to do it to mine. And I can't say, oh yeah, I can put a lighted door handle on your trailer for you, but it's going to take 3 days to do it because I got to use my CNC mill and mill parts and make pieces and things like that. So a lot of the things I do are things I do for thee that I don't necessarily do for for everybody.
For those who like to handle upgrades or do maintenance themselves, what are the top skills and tools that everyone should carry or have?
I mean, you need a good basic tool set if you're going to work on an Airstream. I'll show you my tool bag. I have a leather tool bag that I carry into every Airstream when I work on it, and I can do 99.9% of everything I do to an Airstream I can do with the tools that are in this bag. So, I mean, you're talking about basic screwdrivers, a drill, a standard metric, wrench set, those type things you're going to need, a pop rivet gun.
Yep.
those things are primarily all you need. Most of these things can be put together and taken apart with basic tools. As far as skill set is concerned, I mean, you need to have, if you're doing electrical, you need to have an understanding of electrical. And I don't mean a basic understanding of electrical. Yes, you can change fuses and you can do things like that, but you can get in trouble quick if you don't know exactly what you're doing with some of that stuff. Same thing with plumbing. You know, you get in there, I've seen, plumbing connections that are done, and instead of, it's a PEX fitting and a PEX pipe, and they got a hose clamp on it instead of a PEX crimp. Well, a hose clamp is not proper for that. It's something you can get at Ace Hardware, and it's something that'll work, but it's something that
not proper.
It's not proper. It won't vibrate up and down the road. It won't work. So YouTube is a great source.
Absolutely.
There is a lot of good information in YouTube, but I think the number one skill you need to have as a DIYer is discernment. You need to be able to determine if the person on YouTube is telling you something that's factual and legitimate, or if they're just making something up so they can get a video out there.
I agree. Even on my videos that I try to be vague on how I did a thing or wired a thing, because I said I don't want somebody following my direction, because it's for my trailer and what I need, not for what you do. Do you offer internships or volunteer opportunities? I so many people ask me, hey, I want to go work for Ronnie for a week.
I do to my customers. So I do not offer, at this time, I do not offer internships because the pace of our shop is so fast that I've got a guy that's been working with me for 2 years. John's great. John's coming on full time after he graduates college. So I've got a guy who helps me do what we do, because you always need a second set of hands.
So today, for Mr. Scott, we're installing 600 watt new Palace solar panels, making sure we got it spaced out how we wanted to. And we're doing the last one on this side, making sure it's going to be lined up with our new combiner box we're going to put on. And once we got all these in place we want them, we're going to take them off, caulk them down, and then by tomorrow they'll be ready to be in there.
Beautiful.
Be in place permanently.
Already on?
Yeah, we put that skylight on.
Cool.
Yeah, everything's good.
My son helps when I need an extra set of hands when he's out of school.
Here all the time too.
And then my wife she'll get in the trenches with me in a heartbeat. So we have that. But no, as far as internships, I don't offer anything currently because I don't have time to teach that aspect of it. We're moving and shaking, and we're trying to get things done. I get emails probably 2 or 3 a month that are like, hey, I'll come work for you for free. And I have to think to myself, you're coming to work for me for free, and it's going to cost me. Because if you lean against the side of an Airstream trying to put a solar panel on and your belt buckle scratches the trailer, these things are Fabergé eggs. You know, the level of care required to work on them is such that at this time I do not have a training program in place.
I get it. I truly get it. It's tough. And then you can't just let somebody go.
Well, that and just anything. I mean, you're talking about shop chemistry. A lot of, just the dance doing buck rivets. You got somebody on one side of the trailer, somebody on the other side of the trailer. You got to know that other person. You can't just say, okay, here, you're going to do this side of it. I guess the stuff we're doing, it takes a rhythm.
It does.
And if you introduce a new person into that rhythm, the chemistry may not be there or whatever. And it just hadn't been something that we pursued.
I understand. I completely understand. What do you see Airstream Nuts and Bolts in 5 to 10 years?
Ooh, 5 to 10 years for Airstream Nuts and Bolts. We will be here.
Okay.
I have no doubt we'll be here. We may have another building. We may have building number 2 by that point. Our goal is to still stick with our market, which is primarily solar and lithium and inverters and electrical and those type things. I mean, if your black tank's leaking, sorry, I hate your luck. It's just not, it's not something I really want to get in. I've been encouraged by multiple people who are in the industry. I won't say names, Vinny, to stay with what you enjoy and stay with what you're good at. I don't want to be the whole thing. I would like to get into cabinet modification, some of those things. And the reason that I would like to get into that side of it is because some of the installs that we do, we could benefit from having a little more space and doing things a little bit different. So if we could rebuild a cabinet or rebuild a thing, that might work. Not to the ultimate Airstream level of a grand lounge or anything like that. The reason we don't do cabinet work right now is because I only have one building, and cabinet work is very dusty, and I don't want to mix the two cleans and dirties together. So we would have to have a separate building in order to do the cabinet side of it, and I'd have to have a guy who was a cabinet guy. We need a cabinet guy. So that's something that I would actively pursue down the road. I think there's a need for that, not in trying to branch out into something new, but that would be something that would enhance what we already do. So anything that we add within the next 5 years won't be necessarily anything crazy or new. It'll be something that enhances the existing work that we already do.
Cool.
I'm going to continue to educate myself. The wonderful thing about the solar lithium industry with all the inverters is that it is fast paced now. There's tons of advancement. Things are always changing. Solid state lithium is a new thing. It's coming out. I mean, Battleborn Battery is going to be releasing a new battery soon. All of this tech is out there, and I have to stay up to date on all that stuff. So 5 years from now, who knows where we're going to be? I mean, hopefully a 100-watt solar panel will be the size of a playing card, and we can put 1,000,000 watts of solar on the roof of your Airstream. Those things are things that are there. I mean, I've been in it from the 3-bus bar to the 5-bus bar to the 9-bus bar. Panels. Now there are 13-bus bar panels that are out there that are starting. So things are always changing. So we're going to stay up with the times and keep doing what we're doing.
Awesome. That's my 13 question. So I got a couple, maybe a bonus one here.
Sure.
Eco-friendly upgrades or practices you recommend?
One of the most eco-friendly, I mean, if you don't dig too much in it, is lithium. Yeah. And the reason lithium is because of the lifespan of the battery. 10 years, minimum 10 years. I mean, Battleborn says at 10 years, the battery still has 80% of the capacity. Most customers aren't going to know the difference between 100% and 80% of the total volume. They're never going to use more than the top 25% of the bank anyway. So lithium, as far as not throwing stuff in the trash or, having to recycle lead acid batteries all the time, plastic, all those things. Yeah. Lithium is very eco-friendly. Obviously, everything we do is alternate power source. So solar, those type things. But really, I mean, just if you're not having to buy batteries every 2 years and you get lithium and you put it in there and then you're done with it, whether you just put 2 lithiums in the battery box and change the converter out, those things are typically what we're seeing being the most eco-friendly.
Cool.
You got anything you think of that's going to be, I mean, I'm asking you now.
Just like I said before, house habits. Like, we are very conscious about the water we use because I typically fill my water tank and use my pump instead of hooking up to the hose outside.
Yep, right.
So I'm very conscious of how much water I use to wash dishes or use the bathroom or brush teeth or whatever, shower and that kind of thing. We're members of Planet Fitness and we go to base. So we try to use those things instead of,
using yours.
Yeah.
I get it.
But it's just a balance of life. And I noticed going into a house, like if we go to our family's houses and hang out for a couple of days, how much wasteful stuff is in a house.
Right. And, I mean, people, brushing their teeth with water on all the time, things like that. I think, one thing that people don't consider either is, I mean, Airstreams are expensive. They are. They're a luxury RV, but they're a generational trailer in most aspects. You'll pass this trailer down to your kids if you don't sell it when you get tired of it. So eco-friendly wise, it's not a white box camper that's hitting the dump every, 10 years.
Yeah, I agree.
You get a regular white box trailer, fiberglass side, wood, plywood, all this other stuff, rubber roof, you're throwing that thing away after 10 years or 15 years. So it's just getting crushed down and going into a landfill. Whereas an Airstream, this thing's going to be on the road for 50, 60, 70 years, maybe, if people take care of it, it should last. Now with the synthetic flooring in them, I mean, you don't really have to worry about water leaks as much as creating a problem. So, structurally, they should last a long time.
That's so good. What's your favorite Airstream to work on? Model-wise, size-wise?
A 27-foot front bed twin Globetrotter. The layout is good. The 30-foot Globetrotter is very linear as far as the install, as far as what I do. The solar install, this is selfish when I'm talking. This is about what makes it easy. So it's very linear as far as the layout is concerned. The problem with the Globetrotters is in general, the way they're put together, you can't take the furniture out as much. Yep. But on a 27-foot front bed twin Globetrotter, you can take the twin beds out. You can do the things you need to do. I can run the wire like I need to run the wire. I don't have to jump down through the belly pan to get stuff ran. So as far as the one we like to do that I drool over, if you called me on the phone, if you got a 27-foot front bed twin Globetrotter, I'm your guy.
That's great. And we're in a 27 front bed twin International, which is almost exactly the same. But if we were to buy a new trailer today, we'd be buying a Globetrotter 27 twin.
Yeah. Least favorite, classics.
Yes.
Classics in general. And the reason classics can be such a problem, they're so extra. momentary contact switches and relays and all this stuff, and you can be in under the dinette and put your elbow down on something, and all of a sudden the lights go out, and you spend the next 4 hours trying to figure out why the lights went out. And it's because some little plug somewhere come unplugged. Classics are notoriously a lot harder to work on because there's just more in it. Integration with the C-zone system, I don't have any problem with that. We do that on the regular, but I think it's just, it's right on the cusp of what Airstream's capable of doing.
I agree.
They're at the ceiling, and it just, you can get more quality in a Globetrotter or an International or a Flying Cloud than you can get in a Classic, because the Classics typically are just not put together as well.
I don't disagree at all. And I do my best to push people away from the Classic. I said, unless you 100% are going to be plugged into a RV park all the time, and you know how to use the Aldi system, and you've been educated on all that stuff, because it's so much extra for a camper. Well,
and a customer who buys a Classic expects to be buying the premium. They're buying the top of the line Airstream. So Airstream,
it's a lot of work.
There's a lot more to it. I mean, you got the 2-year annual glycol change. There's a lot more to managing it. And typically the person who is buying the Classic is not the do-it-yourselfer.
I agree 100%. And I worked at Airstream selling Airstreams, and I did my best to get that customer to not get the Classic.
Right. The reason I have a Globetrotter is because it was the highest trim level I could get that wasn't a Classic. That's why I got.
I agree.
That's why we have the trailer we have. My wife wanted a 30-foot trailer. They had just come out with a 30-foot Globetrotter. We liked the lounge layout. We did like that side of it. But the reason that we have a Globetrotter is because it's not a Classic.
I love it. I agree 100%. Any mistakes you've made as an entrepreneur you'd like to pass on to someone who may be trying to start an entrepreneurship?
Mistake-wise, I think one to avoid, I didn't make it, but one that I see other people make commonly is starting too big. Just going out there and throwing a ton of capital at building a building and buying a piece of property, and you get your overhead ahead of your income, and you can go out of business real quick. You can stay in business a long time not making money. You can't stay in business very long losing money.
I agree.
So we have always started small. I mean, working in my driveway small. And working your way up till you build up a following and you build up a client base to the point that you can support what you're doing. So, I haven't done it, but if I were going to make a mistake or see a mistake made, a lot of times it's people who go out there and think, okay, I can go rent this space for $10,000 a month and it's going to be great. And we've got all this stuff. And then you're looking out the door waiting to see if there's another trailer pulling up. So, if you're going to get into especially a niche market like Airstream only service or underwater lighting like my other one, you better do your research, and you better know what your current client base is going to be so that you can scale your business based on that type deal. I still, where I am right now with the piece of property that I have in a building, I can turn the light switch off and walk away. I have scalability down to 0.
That's great.
And we do it. I mean, we first and foremost are still Airstreamers. So if we take a multi-month trip, which we have done, I can turn the lights off in August and I can leave, and I can support through the business that I have running the electricity and running the water bill while I'm gone.
So good.
And insurance. That's another thing that people need to consider when they're going into business for themselves is insurance. My insurance is ridiculous. I have to do 4 full solar installs a year just to pay my insurance bill. 1 month, a 12th of my year covers insurance. It's absolutely
ridiculous.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Do you have any that you are able to talk about partnerships with up and coming businesses that are doing really cool things? I know Aircrafter.
Yeah, so Aircrafters obviously was a fledgling company 5 years ago, and now he's got a booming operation with all the different parts. I mean, Sean's brilliant.
He is fantastic.
His title as owner of Aircrafters is creative designer. He doesn't want to be an owner. He wants to be a creative designer. So he comes up with some really cool stuff. I think one thing that Aircrafters has done well is Sean has done a really good job of not creating solutions in search of a problem. He finds a problem and then he creates a solution for it. You see a lot of products out there, they're just a solution in search of a problem, or they're a solution for a made up problem.
I agree.
Or a perceived problem that really isn't there. One of the companies that I'll mention, we're doing some testing with some product, is a company called Airlock. Airlock is a big company in the marine industry, and they make ozonators.
Very interested in this.
Yeah, so ozone, positive ion type situation is an odor eliminator. They use them in the marine industry for these large yachts because these boats sit in a very humid, very wet environment in these marinas. And when you've been gone for a while, you come back and you open up your boat, you go in and it smells dank and nasty and mildewy and moldy inside it. And that's due to one, enclosed small spaces. So these ozonators, they use them in the deer hunting industry too for scent control and things like that. They're branching out into the RV industry. I've done some testing. I've had some very positive results. We've been on 2-week trips with it and have nothing but good things to say about it. It's something that we're going to be doing in the near future. Installs very similar to like a micro air type deal. It goes inside the air conditioning unit. It only comes on when the air conditioning fan comes on. It cuts off when the air conditioning fan cuts off. It pulls 0.1 amps, so it doesn't pull any power at all. Cool. If you're trying to run your air conditioner off of batteries or, doing whatever, it's not going to be some big load on that. But basically it eliminates odor through the emission of ozone. And the best way I can describe it, if you were to plug one up and kind of sniff it or smell it, it smells like it rained. Yeah, it smells like it just rained. And a lot of times when it rains, you get an increased ozone in the atmosphere or that we're breathing. And it does. It just smells kind of like a fresh rain. It's not something that's noticeable. Like, everybody has little air fresheners in there that can, in a small space like an Airstream, can be overpowering, especially if the trailer gets hot inside it and you go in it and you're like, whoa, that thing evaporated all out and now we've got all this smell. So this is going to be something, dirty laundry smells, any other small space smell, but cooking odors, things like that. I think it'll be something that for somebody who uses their Airstream enough, they could benefit from it.
That's cool. I'm really excited. I was thankful you showed me that yesterday, so I'm looking forward to that. That's all I have. So my bonus question to you is, what's something about you or your business that you want everybody to know that they don't know now? Or what are misconceptions, how to show up, that kind of thing? We've talked about this before, but if someone knows they're going to come to you, order the trailer with no extras on it. Just get the basic trailer. But just what's something about your business or you that you want everybody to know, but they don't?
So a misconception about what we do is that we've got 50 Airstreams sitting around here waiting to be worked on. I mean, again, our business model is very, very bougie, very boutique. We take a trailer in and we get it out the door. So people have the misconception that they can just bring their trailer here and drop it off and we'll get to it. First and foremost, I'm an Airstreamer. So we like our travel time. Second, I'm a dad and a husband. So we protect our Saturdays. We'll go to war over a Saturday. I
agree.
So I'm not working on a Saturday. But we don't take trailers in and just have them sit and we'll get around to them when we can. Because I know about me, my personal trait is, I'll get to it later, I'll get to it later, I'll get to it later, I'll get to it later. And then the customer's like, when am I getting my trailer back? Yep. I take the work that I have scheduled and we get it out in the time we say it's scheduled. And that's what we're willing to take in.
I agree.
So it's a hard business decision to have to make when somebody wants to spend a lot of money with you and you have to tell them, no, I can't meet your needs. And I send emails sometimes to people and I'll be like, maybe it's just timing. Maybe it's just the amount of work or what they're wanting done. We just have to say, can't. And people as consumers aren't used to somebody saying they can't. Yep. But they're also not used to getting the level of service that we provide when we can. So I've made a very difficult decision in that we're going to, again, we can't be all things to all people, but I can be all things to a few. So we take the trailers that we take, and it's not that we're selective about the ones we take. It's just the ones that we got, we're going to spend the time and do the effort and put the work into the ones we do. but I'm not going to be like an Airstream dealer to where, yeah, bring it by and we'll get to it in the next 3 months.
But get suboptimal,
right. And I'm also not going to hire a bunch of guys who can just get the work done.
Yep.
We're gonna go through and we're gonna do it right when it's there. So I guess something about me, about my business, about that is that we're not going to compromise on the quality of the work that we're going to do, and that means that we can't take everybody.
I will tell you, I saw his calendar yesterday, and we're in the second week of November right now. There's no openings until August of next year.
Yeah. That's it. And I got a waiting list. Yeah. Actually, we stopped taking appointments in January because we were booked out through July.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to plan our lives that far in advance. So we've got a waiting list of some people that are interested in coming that will fit that later schedule. So a lot of times if you contact us, we may send you an email back saying, okay, here's the potential cost of what it's going to be, and we're looking at booking you in this time frame. Is that going to work for you? Before we proceed any further, because there's no sense in me wasting your time. There's no sense in you wasting my time on getting there. You know, and the problem with booking jobs out a year in advance is there's a lot that could change on my end. There's a lot that could change on the customer's end. And I don't want the dynamic of the schedule being moved around and swapped. Pretty much when we book you, we know you're coming.
I get it.
And we get it. So it's a busy time for sure. I don't see it slowing down by any means. It's tough. I mean, I don't like to tell somebody no.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's hard.
It is. It's real hard, especially if you put the numbers on paper and you look at it. And from a business standpoint, you're like, this is the dumbest thing we could possibly do because there's revenue that could be generated. And they're like, well, why don't you just build another building, hire a bunch of people and all that?
It changes the dynamics.
It changes it. It changes it. It just changes it. And it creates more headache. It creates more frustration. And it's just something I'm not willing to compromise on.
I want to say this thing too. Many people have a misconception that Ronnie has an enterprise. It's Ronnie and Tara and his help sometimes, John.
Yeah, John.
John, and that's it. There's no extra. So when he works a 12-hour day here, he's got to go home and answer emails and answer phone calls and do build quotes and all. It's one. So,
and I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining about having to do the work or do whatever. But what I'm saying is that we have boundaries.
Yeah.
Healthy boundaries.
Yeah. You have to.
Because this world will eat you if you don't.
Big time.
I'll say this, and it may make it, it may not make it, but if you're a giver, you better know your limits.
Yep. Because
the takers don't have any.
They don't. 100% agree. And that's a business thing I'll add to. I'll put that into the business question because I am a giver. I just been in my career, in my life, and my job as a Marine. So I like to give people back and help people back. But this is my eating space. This is my work space. This is my relaxing space. And if I don't put this thing away, I continue to give.
Yeah.
Same with my phone. I shut it all off at a certain time of day and I can't do any more.
Right. And I think that's healthy for anybody. And again, I'm not please keep contacting. Please keep contacting. We're working. You know, I love what I do. I do. But again, I'm an Airstreamer. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. You know, I'm all those things too. And I can't sacrifice those things for this. If I do, I got my priorities backwards.
Agree. I appreciate your quality. I appreciate your business, and I'm thankful to have your number and build. Because Ronnie's been I've said this many times, but I'm a 411, 911, and 611 on multiple occasions when I'm like, I don't know what to do. There's very few people in the world that I trust, and very few people in the world that I recommend to do something, and very few people that I trust to touch my trailer. He is one of the handful that I do. Thank you very much, and thank you for your continued friendship and allowing me to hang out here for the day. And cool. Awesome. Thank you.
Go.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, that's right.
You ready to get the microphone on?
I'm ready.
I was going to put it. Now you're mic'd up. You're official.
I just got super nervous. I just got super nervous as soon as the microphone got on me. I don't know.
Really?
All right. Yeah, I did. I know. I just got super nervous. I don't want to say anything crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I just need to say something real quick.
What's up?
For all those people that said I would just be an RV mechanic. Yes, that is correct. But now I'm an RV mechanic that's mic'd up on YouTube.
That's what's up.
How about that?
And what'd you do this weekend? Barefoot? Or
Oh yeah, this weekend we had a barefoot rodeo. My team came in second place, so that was good.
Got him.
Hey, who caught that one? John, was that you?
John got him.
Real excited
Silver
about
medal.
that. I'm feeling it though. My hamstrings are very sore. So everything's good though. Life's good.
And you're at University of Auburn?
Yeah, we're at Auburn. We're finishing up our senior year. Be done this summer, and then we'll be with Airstream Nuts and Bolts full time in the fall.
Rock on.
That'd be a ton of
Great
fun.
place to be.
Heck yeah. Here with 13 adventures. Heck yeah. The best YouTube channel out.
For $11.23 an hour, you can come work here too.
Yeah. Is that how much I'm getting paid? Are you paying me?
I don't even pay you.
Wait, am I getting paid this week?
Your good looks just he
No.
he gets enjoyment out of your good looks and work.
No. Well, no, but the old lady's still chasing him around the shop. I don't know.
I get asked on his behalf, hey, can you give me Rhonda's number? I'd like to call him and go work for him. Nope.
I hand his number out every chance I get. People ask to get inverters put in their Tesla. You know what I say? Here's your number.
Yeah.
Here's the number you need. Call Ronnie Dennis. He'll put an inverter in your Tesla.
Thank you, man.
Heck yeah, thank you. All right, that was my moment of fame.
But right here, I can't.
That's me.
I can't read.
If I'm working close,
Yeah.
like under a trailer looking up, man, I can't see.
It's ridiculous.
Customers that are here, recording stop.
Oh, which one? Oh, it's probably hot. This one's still going. My phone's still going.